Welcome to the Teapot Reads. My name's Sam. I'm the Teapot. I'm currently reading Sorcery of Thorns, and I am so happy to see you today. Like this video says, we are going through my entire manga collection, and yes, this is where I keep them. Now, heads up, I might be doing this over the course of a couple recording moments just because today's a little like, I really wanted to record it today, but my schedule is kind of relying on other people's schedules as well. I'm going to try to do it in all today, but I cannot promise it. So if I change clothing, that's what's going on. Or if the lighting changes, that's what's going on. So my manga, I keep it here. It is double stacked. It fits like perfectly in this wedge between my bookcase and the wall. And I have thought about getting new bookcases, but it would eliminate this spot, and this spot is just like perfect. I have nowhere else to keep my manga. It helps me keep my manga collection under control, and it also helps me visualize how much I'm like reading, because as you're going to see, I have it organized, yes, by series, but also like up here it doesn't look as organized because these are ones I haven't gotten to yet or have read recently and haven't talked about. Overview of this side before we get a little closer. Up to here, so here down I have read, but Mermaid Saga up I have either read recently or haven't read yet. So let us get a little closer and I will show you. So up here we actually have my two most recent reads, which are The Other Worlds. Oh, sorry, this is like a sort of odd angle. We're gonna go with it. The Other Worlds Books Depend on the Bean Counter, Volume 1 by Kazuki Iridori. I loved this. This was so cute. I absolutely cannot wait to get Volume 2, which I'll be picking up soon. And then I also read Yokohama Kadashi Kiku by Hitoshi Ashinano. I loved this. This is huge because it's a bind up of, I think, 3 volumes originally, or it says chapters 1 through 24 of this beloved manga, and it's really cute. It is it's got cozy vibes, so if you're looking for like cozy stories, I would recommend this. It is about Alpha. She runs a cafe, and it is basically the end of the world. This is the final sort of chapter of human life. She herself is a robot, and she is just waiting for her owner to come home and watching and just kind of bearing witness to the final days of human existence. It's very, very cute, even for as bleak as it sounds, although it is sad. There are moments when I was reading this where I got just so melancholy and overwhelmed. Like, it's beautiful, but it's sad. It isn't like the greatest thing I've ever read. There were some very weird moments, but I think that might just be because, you know, sometimes manga goes a little weird. But I did read that really recently, and volume 2, it's going to be 5 volumes, all said, when the deluxe editions are done publishing. Volume 2 just came out and I plan on picking that up soon. Then we have Skip and Loafer Volume 1 by Masaki Takamatsu. I haven't read this, but one of my coworkers convinced me to pick it up and said it was really, really cute. So yes, I believe she is from a small town and moves to the city for her high school, and it's like a rom-com-y, I guess? I don't know. Looks really cute. And in a similar vein, Insomniacs After School, I believe they are 2 loners and they really just want a place to chill, so they find the old astronomy room, but in order to keep their room active they have to form an astronomy club, and this also just looked really cute, so I wanted to give it a try. I'm really in that mood right now. Another one I have finished recently is Spy Family Volume 9. I'll talk about Spy Family a little bit more in just a couple moments because I'll show you the rest of my Spy Family volumes. I love this series though. It's so cute, and this one did not disappoint. I thought it was adorable. Another one I really want to read, I've actually had this sitting here for a little bit now, is Dandadan by Yukinobu Tatsu. I think she believes in aliens. He, not him, but the male character who's not on here, believes in the supernatural, and she doesn't believe in the supernatural, but he doesn't believe in aliens, so they end up switching. Like, she has to find something supernatural and he has to find something alien, and they actually end up discovering both of those things. I believe that's kind of what it's about. It is supposed to be really good. It just gave me really fun vibes, And then Go Go Loser Ranger. You'll see this as well in a moment with Kaiju number 8, but I am really interested in the sort of monsters reclaiming the narrative stories. And yeah, obviously this is sort of parroting Power Rangers, and I do enjoy Power Rangers, so this seemed fun. Basically the monsters are forced to reenact their defeat constantly because the Rangers need to look good for the citizens, and this one decides to sneak into the Ranger Corps or whatever and try to reclaim his people's rights. It seems cute. Doro Hadoro Volume 1 by Kyu Hayadashi. Or, sorry, that's not the name at all. Kyu Hayashida. I'm gonna really be trying with these names. This is a horror manga, and one of my friends really loves this series, read it last year, and has been trying to get me interested, and I have been reading Chainsaw Man, and I feel like this might be similar levels of gore, and that's about the cap on gore I can handle. I'm willing to try it. I only got volume 1, which, again, like I said, having the stacks like this really helped me manage how much manga I have, because I don't tend to buy a bunch in a series if I haven't already started that series. Even then, I try to limit it. I also don't think that my copy of Junji Ito's Uzumaki is in this stack. I have it elsewhere. That book fucking terrified me, so I didn't really want it with my other ones. So Kaiju number 8 by Nayo Matsumoto is similar to Go Go Loser Ranger, except kaijus, basically. And I believe he's actually part of like the kaiju fighting force and then finds out he is a kaiju. So it has, I guess, a little Attack on Titan vibes as well. Another one I read recently, and again, we'll talk more about this series when we get to the rest of the collection, is The Way of the House Husband Volume 7 by Kusuko Uno. I do love this series. This volume, though, was a little bit of a disappointment. Now, I have volumes 2 and 3 of Komi Can't Communicate by Tomohiro Oda. I do have volume 1 as well, but these are unread. I picked these up because I thought volume 1 was so cute. I had it sitting on my stacks for a while. I want to say about a year and a half before I finally caved and picked it up, because I was like, I just finished Sweat and Soap and I wanted something light and fluffy as well, and I absolutely fell head over heels for Komi, so immediately went out and picked up volumes 2 and 3. And I will probably read these before I try any other cutesy rom-com series, but I haven't yet. I've actually kind of slowed down on manga reading recently just because I just haven't had the space to read them. And like I said, I have Chainsaw Man volumes 4 and 5. This is by Tatsuki Fujimoto. I am absolutely adoring Chainsaw Man. I stayed away from the series for so long because I think it was overhyped and everyone was reading it, and I was like, I don't know, it doesn't seem like my thing. But I finally picked up volume 1, I want to say it was late last year or early this year, and I get the hype. It is fantastic. If you haven't heard about Chainsaw Man, okay, that's insane. But basically, our main character, Denji, is a demon hunter. I think they're called demon. A devil hunter. And he ends up being killed. But his dog, Pachita, who is a devil dog, ends up saving his life and turning him into Chainsaw Man, devil himself, and he is joining other devil hunters to take down the Gun Devil. It's so good. It's fucking weird, but it's amazing. Alright, I'm sorry. I did say this might take a couple days to film, and this is indeed... This is indeed a separate day, and I'm really, really hoping I can do it all today. I think I have tucked enough time away, so let me pull off the books that we already went through. I'm pretty sure we went up to here, and we will jump right back into it. Okay, so the next series I have are volume 3 and 4 of Witch Hat Atelier by Komomi Shirahama. These are literally... Oh my god, I'm so sorry. These are literally the most adorable things. I absolutely am loving this series. I'd had volume 1 sitting on my pile for a while, and I kind of read it just sort of on a whim. I wanted something just like witchy, and I did not even know I was in for the greatest treat of my life with these. Absolutely, absolutely love them. I'll talk a little bit more about them when we get to volumes 1 and 2 on the list, but the big thing is I think the art is just like absolutely stunning all around. It is a delight to look at regardless of what page you're on. And the characters so far have also been a lot of fun, and I am very excited to dive back into these. These also 100% fall into cozy, so if you're looking for cozy fantasy, this would definitely fill that hole for you. I would love to just like binge that series up to date. So then we have Blue Period Volume 1 by Tsubasa Yamaguchi. I have not read this one. I believe it's about a guy who wants to go to art school, so that's what he does. It's like his journey to being an artist. I was just really struck by the cover of this one, and I just love how all the covers look, but I am not sure if I'm gonna like it. I haven't actually thought about it much since picking it up, and especially recently I've just kind of had it very far on the back burner. I don't love hardcover manga, but I was basically convinced by everyone I know who has been a manga fan for a while to give Full Metal Alchemist a try. So I did pick up volume 1. This is by Hiromu Arakawa, I think is how you say it. And it is the, I think, definitive collector's edition. It's not color, but it's got like glossy pages. I'm not a huge fan of that texture, but I'm really excited to give this a try. It's a classic at this point. I'm just gonna put it off because I think the texture of the pages threw me off. I definitely could see myself reading this soon, though. I'm very much in the fantasy mood, just across the board. Then we have a complete turn from that. This is Blue Giant Omnibus of Volumes 1 and 2 by Shinichi Ishizuka. It is about a saxophone player, and it honestly just looked very quiet and kind of touching. I'll be honest, I just get very, very slow, take your time reading this vibes. Low stress, but not necessarily low stakes or low investment. But yeah, I'm kind of saving this for like a rainy day, you know, jazz music, rainy day. It feels right. I could see that being an autumnal read. I think I've said that for a little bit. Then I have Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 2 by, is it Gege or Gigi? Or Geije? I don't know. Akatami. I read Volume 1 and I enjoyed it well enough. It actually reminded me a lot about Blue Exorcist, which I do quite enjoy. And so I picked up Volume 2, but I just haven't gotten to it and I don't feel super, super urgent. Actually, as I was talking about Chainsaw Man earlier, where I kind of avoided it because of the hype, I very much avoided Jujutsu Kaisen for much the same reason. And it was JJK and Chainsaw Man were the two series that had the most hype for the longest time. That and Demon Slayer, but I know I'm not going to read Demon Slayer. I know so many people who, in my personal life, were disappointed by the ending that I'm just not going to touch that series. And I picked up JJK first because I was like, oh, you know, sure. But I definitely like Chainsaw Man more than this one. This one's fine. I think it's just a lot slower moving than I was expecting. But like I said, it did remind me of Blue Exorcist. Haven't read Volume 2 yet. I will get to it. It's just not top priority. Then I have After School Hanako-kun and Toilet Bound Hanako-kun Volume 0, both by Adalro. These are sort of like bonus mangas to the series. I love Toilet Bound Hanako-kun, as you're going to see in just a moment. It's one of my favorite series, and it's a series that got me back into reading manga. But these I absolutely am just saving for when the series is over or if there's a really long hiatus and I miss it. But I'm not up for rereading the whole thing. I will just save these. I also have the art book over on another shelf, so I'm not going to show that to you. If you saw my bookshelf tour, it was on there. Drifting Dragons by Taku Kuwabara. This is Volume 1. I think it's very steampunk vibes, which I do love a good steampunk story. And the art also really draws me. It's also giving me like major Ghibli vibes. I am not 100% sure what it is about though. And this one has been sitting here for a bit, so I'm not sure when I'm going to get to it. It is not in any danger of being unhauled though. And similar Ghibli vibes I also get quite a bit from Beyond the Clouds, also steampunk. This is Beyond the Clouds Volume 1. I think the subtitle for the series is The Girl Who Fell from the Sky, and this is by Nikki? Is that how you say it? Yeah, the vibes, I again don't know what this is about, and again it's been sitting here for a while. This one might risk being unhauled, but I don't think so. I think it's also probably safe to sit here. Goodnight Pun Pun Volume 1 by Inio Asano. This is not at all the type of manga I typically like to read. However, I am big into Japanese translated fiction, and there is an update video on that coming soon, I promise. And this is really marked as a really important text in Japanese literature. Even though it is manga, manga can absolutely be literary, and I think Goodnight Pun Pun is probably going to be a really good example of that. I haven't read it yet. I am frightened. I've heard this is a super fucked up and depressing series, so and not in the like fun Chainsaw Man way, in the you'll be so fucking depressed afterwards on a soul deep level kind of way. So Goodnight Pun Pun, I will get to you, and I could actually see myself getting to this one again really soon. This might even be a summer read if I'm down for a long haul. Blue Flag Volume 1 by Kaido. This series has been on and off, possibly being unhauled for me. I haven't read Volume 1 yet. I know that there is sort of a love square, and I think there's queer elements to that love square, which is what drew me to it originally, and I saw some good reviews, but then I just didn't see anyone talking about it, and I was not super interested in it, and considered getting rid of it. And when it wrapped up, people said it was a good ending, so I don't know if I'm going to read it, if I'm interested in it. I am going to try to give volume 1 a shot. If it's too melodramatic or slow moving, I will probably just unhaul it though, because I don't know. The vibes I'm looking for, like this like type of story is more similar to like Comey, like cutesy and not serious high school drama. But we'll see. I might be totally wrong. I might love it. Phantom Tales of the Night by Matsuri. This is volume 1. I got this completely on a whim because the cover and the description, which I believe it is a haunted inn or an inn where you tell like ghost stories or something, reminded me of a classic anime series I used to watch called oh shit, like Shishi or something. I'll try to link it here. It just gave me those sort of vibes. I do know now that it's horror, so we'll see. I might be able to handle it. We'll give it a try. Halloween time if I read it. If I don't read it this year, it probably will be on hold. And then Mermaid Saga Volume 1. This is an omnibus, I believe. And there's only 2 or 3 of these omnibuses put out, but that's a complete story. This is also horror. She is a mermaid. I think mermaids eat flesh. This is by Rumiko Takahashi. I really want to read this during the summertime, but I have not been in the mood quite yet. This one is not really in danger of being unhauled either, although I think if it goes like another 2 years or so, I probably will just get rid of it. Like I said, I try to be a lot more caught up on my manga series than on the rest of my bookcases because I don't want the collection to get overwhelming, especially considering I don't have nearly as much space. So I'm going to lower the camera a little bit, show you the bottom of this pile before we go into the back pile here. And as you can already see, you're starting to see organization. We're getting into the series that I'm caught up on, or where I'm caught up in the series. So let us go down. Okay, I hope that's not a horrible angle for you. Apologies if it is. So like I said, we have Comey. Oh, I guess I should talk about organization real quick. So partly it is done by size, and partly it is done by genre and how much I like it. So the stack behind it is actually going to typically be favorite series, whereas even though there might be series I absolutely love on this front stack, they just didn't make it to like I don't love them as much as the ones behind it, if that makes sense. And I do want to put like complete series near the bottom, so if like Spy Family finishes, it would, well, this one's shorter, but if Witch Hat Atelier finished, but Way of House Husband hadn't finished, I would put Witch Hat Atelier here. Right now though, I am able to kind of keep it genred off, so we have more realistic into fantasy and then realistic-ish again, and then fantasy would climb up here. I have Comey Can't Communicate Volume 1 by Tamahito Oda. I absolutely loved this. It is, I want to say like slow burn kind of, but it is almost so comedic that I don't care, and the chapters are so short. Let's see. So chapter 6 starts here and then is done. Well, I guess chapter 6 was a long one here. So they're just really concise. They're really cute. It is about Comey, who everyone thinks she's a super popular girl or a very standoffish girl, and she's very popular, but it turns out she's just like has severe social anxiety and cannot really speak in public. So that's why she's so standoffish. Her goal in life is to make 100 friends, and she makes friends with Tadano, who is, I believe, the new kid at the beginning of the story. It's been a couple months since I read volume 1, but she makes friends with him first kind of accidentally, and he's trying to help her make 100 friends. It's so cute. It is so wholesome. It tickled so many spots that I didn't realize I even needed tickled, and I'm so glad it's a long series. Well, I say that now not to jinx it, but at this moment I'm glad it's a long series because I want to spend a lot of time with these characters and with their escapades. And this is going to sound strange, but I don't like miss high school realistically because I fucking hated high school, but every once in a while I'm like, I miss the high school experience that pop culture makes me think I should have had, and this is kind of letting me live vicariously through it. So yeah, Comey, really, really cute. Strongly recommend it. It's also probably a really good manga if you're just getting into manga for the first time and want something cuter. I would really recommend this series. Then we have Spy Family. Like I said, I absolutely love this series. It is one of my favorites. When someone described to me what it was about, I was like, yeah, that sounds cute, but I didn't know I was going to absolutely fall in love with it. So I have volume 1. Volume 2, apologies for the glare, Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, Volume 6, Volume 7, and Volume 8, which has Frankie on it, who is my favorite character, and you saw Volume 9 earlier. These are all by Tetsuya Endo. This series is about a family, a spy family. So we have Lloyd, who is a spy. We have Yor, who is an assassin, and Anya, who is a telepath. Lloyd needs to, it's basically set in a like divided Germany post World War II kind of setting, which is a fantastic setting. I thoroughly love the world of this book. Like it's not like a great world, I wouldn't want to live there, but I enjoy reading about it. Lloyd is on an undercover mission and he has to find information from this really important person, but in order to do that he needs a kid, and he needs the kid to be enrolled in a specific school so that that kid can interact with the bad guy's kid. And so he adopts Anya, not realizing she's a telepath. She knows he's a spy because she's a telepath. And then he also needs a wife, so he meets up with Yor, not realizing she's an assassin, and she doesn't know he's a spy. And Anya knows who they both are, but neither of them know Anya is a telepath. And hijinks ensue. It is so cute. It is so wholesome. It is probably, of all the series I have, this one makes me laugh the most consistently, and it is a lot of fun. I have not watched the anime yet, but it is high on my to watch list. Then we have volumes 1 and 2 of Witch Hat Atelier by Kamome Shirahama. Like I said, absolutely love these, very cozy fantasy. What happens is Coco, who is the protagonist here, she really wants to be able to do magic, but is told that only specific people can, and then accidentally does find herself doing magic and being embroiled in a little bit of an accident after something happens to her mother that is her fault. So she is being trained to be a witch. I love the magic system. I don't want to spoil it because even though you realize how it works pretty early on, it is still sort of a nice twist. But let's just look at that art. Absolutely stunning. So good, so fleshed out. I feel like this surpasses pretty much all my expectations I had for it. It definitely feels more middle grade, but it's that kind of fucked up middle grade where bad things happen and there are consequences, even though it's sort of light and fluffy at sometimes, and the characters are really young. Again, major Ghibli vibes for this one, and I don't know if there's going to be an anime, but I hope so, because I would love to see this art translated on screen and see it like flowing across the screen. I think that would really be beautiful. The side characters are also really good. I enjoy all of them so far. I cannot wait to dive back into the series. The only reason I've been putting it off is because I know I'm gonna love it, and also, like I said, I haven't been in a big manga reading mood, so I've been picking very carefully the manga I've been reading. Then I have Way of the House Husband. This is about a guy called the Immortal Dragon, or he was called the Immortal Dragon. His name is Tatsu. He ends up, well, he was a major member of the Yakuza. He ends up falling in love and marrying someone and becomes a house husband. And like it says on the back, housework without honor or humanity. He's very serious about what he does. This series is by Kosuke Uno, and it's very funny, it's very cute. I loved the first 5 volumes, but volume 6 fell a bit flat for me, which I think is why I haven't, or in volume 7, they both kind of fell flat for me, which is why I haven't really felt the urge to go out and pick up the next volume yet, but I do 100% intend on continuing the series. I don't think it's fallen so flat. I just wasn't as good as the earlier volumes. These are also really short episodic chapters, so if you're just looking for something to dive in and out of, this is a great one. So I have volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, 4, 5, and 6, and you saw volume 7 earlier. This is one of the only completed series I own. This is Sweat and Soap, all 11 volumes. This is so cute. If you're looking for a more mature romance storyline, it very much follows a couple from literally the beginning of their relationship, the meet cute, all the way to the terminus of their relationship, and in a positive way. A little bit of a spoiler, you'll see it on the cover. Yes, they do get married, but it's everything along the way that just makes this series so worth it. The first couple covers are atrocious and make this look a lot smuttier than it is. It is, again, a mature series. There's nothing super explicit, but it's not just fade to black. You know what's going on, and that it's good. It works really well. It actually makes a lot of sense for the couple. Basically, Asako, she works at a soap company that she loves because she loves the soap company, but she sweats a lot, and that is why it's called Sweat and Soap. And Asako as they sort of meet cute with the lead product designer, Natori, and it's he uses her help at first, but it quickly develops into a just phenomenal relationship. And I think that especially people in their 20s and 30s are really going to enjoy how even the small things like picking out furniture and committing to an apartment and dealing with, meeting each other's families is just done so tastefully. There's still angst, there's still trouble, but it never really falls into those common tropes of miscommunication or misunderstandings. It's very serious or very realistic problems that they run into and are able to overcome. It's just really wholesome, is what I'm trying to say. And this is complete. Volume 1, like I said, the early volumes have terrible covers. Volume 2, Volume 3, I think the covers are a turn off for some people. Volume 4, I love this cover. Volume 5, Volume 6, Volume 7, Volume 8, Volume 9, Volume 10, and my favorite cover, Volume 11. And this does go around to the back. We get to see all their family and friends. Again, so wholesome. Absolutely loved it. Strongly recommend this series. And now we're going to go back here. So up top, you're going to see a bunch of volumes of Noragami. This is a slightly strange way I organize it. Noragami is my absolute favorite manga series of all time. It is the series that basically originally got me into reading manga. And of those series that I read back in like high school, it's that one and Blue Exorcist are the only ones I've kept because they are the only ones that really meant enough to me to keep. That might be a little bit of a tip off of how I feel about the series a little bit. I did kind of stop reading Noragami around, or the last volume I read was volume 17 because I just did not have the patience to keep waiting, and manga is expensive, so before I worked at a bookstore it was sort of hard to maintain really long manga series. But I have since bought all the volumes past volume 17, and I've actually been rereading the series. So that's kind of what you're seeing up here. I actually am just about to start my reread of volume 11, and the series is by Arachi Toga. And you can see the bookmark in there. I'm going to be starting my reread of this probably this week, actually. Really excited to get into that volume again. I read it kind of in between other volumes of manga I haven't read yet, and the most recent volume I reread was volume 10. This is pretty much the end of, like, I would call it the third major arc if I'm counting correctly. This series is just as good on the reread. I'm so happy I decided to return to it the way I have because it's just been filling everything, I needed. And then the next volume I plan to reread is volume 12. I didn't want to push all of the volumes I needed to reread to the top just for organizational purposes. It made more sense for me to just do it in like chunks of like 3 at a time. So, because every couple, weeks and months I'll go through and just like reorganize and make sure all the volumes are in the right spots. Now these guys are the ones I've never read. I wanted to make sure I kept them separate from the volumes that I have read. So we're going to show you those real quick. That is volume 18. Volume 19, Volume 20, which has my favorite cover, Volume 21, Volume 22, Volume 23, Volume 24, and Volume 25. And I do believe I am caught up in like owning the volumes that I haven't read yet. I also sort of heartbreakingly believe that we're in the final arc and that the final arc is being published. So I think that it's, coming to a close. That breaks my heart because I do love this series so much. But I am happy that it is great on the reread because that means I can keep rereading it, keep returning to it. The next series I have here, this is, I believe, completed in the English version, but I do think it was actually continued in a secondary series in Japan. I could be wrong. This is Daily Report About My Witch Senpai. This is by Maka Machida. This series is so cute. 100% if you're a Ghibli fan, if you want cozy fantasy stories, this is it. It is about a businessman and a witch, and it's just a series of snapshots into their dating life, and it is just pure fluff and adorableness. When I started reading it, I was like, oh, maybe this isn't going to fulfill it, but it does. It's literally perfect. And it's so short, like, look at that. Tiny, tiny, tiny. I fully recommend, especially if Kiki's Delivery Service is like a favorite film of yours. You'll love it. It's perfect. And we have Frieren Beyond Journey's End. The series is by Kanehito Yamato and Tsukasa Abe. There are volume 8 either just came out or is about to come out, and I'm looking forward to picking it up. This is for anyone who loves D&D particularly. It is about, well, Frieren is our protagonist, although I would argue that Fern might actually be the protagonist, but Frieren is an elf and was part of the legendary party to take down the Demon King, and that was about 100 years ago. So her companions who were not elves and long lived have died or are dying, and she's alone, and she's realizing that she's kind of missed out a lot of life because she didn't really partake in the human experience. She sort of squandered some of her friendships and relationships, not necessarily on purpose. She just kind of forgot that that's how it works. And she's basically given Fern to, not just to take care of, but to be a companion to a little bit. And Fern is a apprentice of one of Frieren's old party members, and they are adventuring, trying to help sort of clean up. There's still some residue of evil after the Demon King has been dead for so long. And it's just really, it's cute. The first volume was a little rough. Let me show you the volumes, and then I'll talk a little bit more about it. So we have volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, volume 4, volume 5, volume 6, and volume 7. Like I said, volume 1 was a little rough. I was not the hugest fan. Frieren herself is a fairly boring character when she doesn't have other characters to work against, but as soon as we get Fern and Stark eventually, it becomes a lot of fun, really enjoyable, and it actually, somewhere in volume 2, became one of my favorite series, and I'm recommending this one all the time to people, both at work and just friends. I'm like, you should read it. You love Frieren. So they're probably tired of hearing that. But I think Frieren's great. I think it's perfect. This is the rest of my Noragami collection. So I'll show you that, and then we'll move down and see the last little bit of the manga collection. I'm just going to show you the volumes because I've already told you this was the series that got me into manga back originally. It is the series that I love with my entire heart, and nothing will probably ever steal that place in my heart. It's just so vital and important to me. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you wanted to get to know me through manga, which is not necessarily the best way to get to know me and my taste, but if you wanted to, Noragami would be the way to do it. Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, Volume 6, Volume 7, Volume 8, Volume 9, and then we skip 10, 11, 12 because that was in the reread pile. Volume 13, Volume 14, Volume 15, Volume 16, Volume 17, and the Stray Stories Volume 1. This is sort of like Hanako-kun volume, or After School Hanako-kun. It's little shorts. It's cute little moments. It was fun. It's Volume 1. I don't imagine we're getting a Volume 2, but maybe. Okay. And then speaking of Hanako-kun, let's get a little closer if we can. That didn't help, did it? Okay, well, maybe a little. Speaking of Toilet Bound Hanako-kun, I keep this series really close to Noragami because they're very similar in vibes. So if you like one, you'll probably like the other. I have sort of recently fallen slightly out of love with Toilet Bound Hanako-kun. It is just not as good as it was at the beginning. And I think a large part of that is Hanako himself is really not in it as much. And I'm not really sure what the plot is anymore. I know what the plot is, but I don't know the plot is. The setup that we were given at the beginning is not necessarily the same thing we're doing. And, yeah. Toilet Bound Hanako-kun Volume 1. This is by Adalro. Hanako haunts the girls' toilet, and Nene is that how you say your name? She basically asks for a wish to get a boy to like her, and it doesn't go well, and she becomes kind of forced to be Hanako's assistant as they try to sort of put the school mysteries, which are major supernatural creatures that haunt the school, they try to put them not to rest, but to control their powers a little more because they're kind of wreaking havoc. That's the premise you need. It's just gone in a direction I don't understand anymore. But I'm not enjoying it. I'm just never as eager as I was for the first 10 volumes or so. But here we have Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, Volume 6, Volume 7, Volume 8, Volume 9, Volume 10, Volume 11, Volume 12, Volume 13, Volume 14, Volume 15, Volume 16, Volume 17. Okay, just a little bit more. Chainsaw Man, Volumes 1, 2, and 3. This is just a hard angle for me to film at. These are by Tatsuki Fujimoto, and I am thoroughly obsessed with this series. It's funny, it's dark, it's engaging. I love Denji so fucking much. I love literally every character so much. And when I tell you the series has managed to surprise me and just shock me in 3 volumes, I think every volume gives me at least 3 plot twists and shocks that I was not expecting, and it's brutal. It's like Game of Thrones level brutal. It's so good. If you can handle gore, you need to read Chainsaw Man. It's probably one of the best manga coming out right now. And I know that's probably not new. You've probably heard that. But I am fully on the hype train. It is literally freaking amazing. And then we have JJK, Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 1 by Gege Akamari. I've talked about, I don't really have anything else to say about this. It's good. I'm enjoying it. Very Blue Exorcist vibes. Speaking of, finally, we have Blue Exorcist Volumes 1 through 4 by Kazu Kato. Or Kato. Kazue? I'm sorry. I don't know. I was obsessed with the series, mostly the anime, when I was younger. And I read the first couple volumes and I did really enjoy it. But this was around the time that I started to drop off on manga. But I would love to get back. I want to reread these volumes and catch up with the series at some point. But I'm waiting until after I finish Noragami. So we have Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, and Volume 4. This is about Rin, who finds out he is the son of Satan and becomes an exorcist to try to kill Satan. It is super angsty if you like that kind of thing. The characters are really great, and Rin and Yukio, his brother, are the hearts of the series and are phenomenal on literally every level. When I say was obsessed, I mean I was reading fan fiction about the series levels of obsessed. So make of that what you will. Alright, thank you for sticking with me. I know it's a little frustrating to be recording over multiple days, but that is just the way things fall sometimes. So now I have a little bit ahead of me to clean this up, but it gives me a chance to reorganize it. Like, organization generally isn't going to change much, but to put them all back into place, it's actually kind of fun and therapeutic. I'm not angry about it at all. One of the reasons I wanted to do this video was so that I would have an excuse to touch on my manga again and just enjoy it again. But anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. If you like this content and want to see more like it, definitely consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. If you are already a subscriber, thank you, thank you, thank you. It means the world to me to have you here. If you are somewhere cold, I hope you're staying warm. If you're somewhere warm, I hope you're staying comfortable. And most of all, I hope you're reading a great book. I will see you guys next time. Bye!